All right. What's up, everybody? How's it going? Only a couple of folks here, but we're ready to kick some ass. It's just me today. Most of the rest of the gang is busy, tied up doing other stuff. So just here to hang out, and we're going to talk a little bit about some non-traditional approaches to flavoring. So like savories and florals and herbals and whatever. I don't know. Mostly just because we don't usually pick a topic beforehand, and I just sit here and talk to chat for like an hour, which is cool with me because I like you guys, except you Hans. I'm kidding. Yeah, two whole people watching, so it's just Hans and probably me, right? Let me refresh this thing. There we go. All right, good. So that's pretty much it. I just, I've been working. Yeah, I work primarily in mixing, with working with stuff that's kind of outside the box, right? Like just, I get really bored with like just stereotypical fruits or bakeries or tobaccos or anything. Like I like tobaccos and I like fruits and I like bakeries, but I just get bored too easy, right? I got to change it up a lot. So I like to use a lot of non-traditional things. So if you have questions about a specific profile or, oh, hi Sven. I didn't realize you were one and the same. I guess I should have made that connection at some point since I've seen you in chat like a million times. But I always forget. How's it going, Wade? How you doing? Just chilling today. Pretty casual stream. It's just going to be me for a while. I didn't have any mixing plan. I'm still in the process of like reestablishing my mixing center back here. You can kind of sort of see it behind me. The floor is messy, so I'm not going to show you the rest of it, because I'm still like unpacking and moving stuff down here. I didn't move houses or anything. I just wanted to switch my office to like a bigger space. So eventually I'll have everything set up so that I can just like shift my camera a little farther so you can see the mixing station behind me closer, and then I can do like actual live mixing and stuff. This desk is too small to do it on the desk, although I guess I kind of could, with some finagling, but I'd have to reroute all the wires, which probably isn't the end of the world either. But yeah, so my experience with herbs and spices and e-juices. Sure. Well, I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can go. I think the easiest approaches for herbs or herbal flavors is probably with things like basil, right? It's the most readily available like herb flavor. Flavora basil is really solid, and F.A. Oakwood has a pretty strong basil and sage note, but it also has like a little bit of oak, and it's really, really, really dry. It's a really wonderful flavor, but you have to balance out the dryness. And then there's, where a shisha punch is like a really strong like cardamom flavor, right? Flavor on cardamom. Anise would fall into that. All of those are all good. In fact, there aren't very many like bad herbal flavors. It's just that they're harder to work with. The green ones like basil can kind of go the way of like wet salad or vegetal, whatever, right? That word, the word that I can never pronounce. They're good though. They're good flavors. They go really well with like, Oakwood it's basil and sage. I think the sage actually stands out a little bit more than the basil. The basil is there definitely, but sage pretty much owns it. Hi, Julia. Have you dog? Did I miss anybody? And Bryn, did I say that right? Hi, Bryn. Just a pretty casual stream. I don't know if I'll go for the whole hour today. I guess we'll just see if there's enough like questions or interest. Curry would be really hard. I think just because of how aggressive curry can be. I mean, I work with curry in food, but I've never tried. I have a curry flavoring somewhere. It's in one of my old boxes, and I tried it, and it tasted like sour goat's milk. Like it was really gross. Like it was really not pleasant. I mean, maybe I could give it another try again, but it was definitely like a curry sauce and not just a straight curry flavor. I think with just a curry, if it was like a curry powder, I'd be a little more prone to trying it again. But that like sour goat Ellis Roman. Let me Google that. Look it up, huh? I've seen him before. Oh, I'm gonna have to like translate this and everything because terrible German. Hookah and vape stuff. All right, I'll save that for later. I'll come back and have a look at it. Sasami has a pretty good wide range. Yeah, I'd be interested in checking out their curry if it's not too hard for me to ship or too expensive. What is it? $7.60? Oh, that's like actual finished juice. Yeah, I'll have to have a look. Yeah, time can work really well. It's hard to find a good time though. You don't have to like cheat and like try to like combine different herbs to make time. I don't have a time flavor, like a direct, just straight out time. I think Flavor Art makes one, but it's part of their kitchen line, so I don't have it. I don't have most of their kitchen line stuff. Yeah, I need to go to hold of the guys over at Sasami and see if I can get my hands on the samples. They've been talked a lot. I mean, they've been around forever and ever, and I have some of their stuff a little bit, but it's old. And but they've been kind of coming back out of the woodwork, and people are talking about them more. They have a lot of really out there flavors. For some actual Lucky Charms, I would mail you a box of Lucky Charms. I mean, for curry, sure. It's like $3. And it's right down the street. Yeah, hit me up on Facebook, dude. Sasami has a fennel? Color me interested. Oh, now I'm going to have to look. You jerks. Here I am to talk about. Oh, they have stuff on chefs. I didn't even know that. Do they have any good on chefs? Nothing that stands out. I'll have a look and see what I can do about ordering direct. Oh god, what did I just do? Okay, never mind. Sorry. I thought I accidentally just killed everything. But I just... Yeah, I didn't. So that's cool. How's everybody doing? Everybody having a good Sunday? Where's Sasami from? They're from China, right? Aren't they? Quince, Kathy, TPA Quince. You can really. Okay, I stand corrected on the Sasami. Thanks, guys. That makes it a lot easier. If it's TPA Quince, I think. I mean, you can use it up to like 1%. So that's like, I don't know, like 10 drops or so in a 30 ml, maybe a little. You can go a little higher, probably. I mean, you can really crank up Quince if you really want it to be like a main flavor. You can go way higher. It's a pretty good flavor overall. I think it's pretty versatile. It is pretty strong. So like if you're just going for just Quince, like you want it to be like the main flavor, you can like push it up to like 2 or 3% if you want, but it's gonna be kind of a bully and you won't be able to taste as many of the, whatever other flavors you're putting in there. But it's a really good, yeah, TPA Quince is awesome. If you're adding it to like dress up a pear or apple or a watermelon or cantaloupe or banana, which it does all of those things, you know, keep it under 0.5% or like, you know, 3 to 5 drops or something like that, right? Give or take, depending on the size of your bottle. You drop per top. It's always hard to gauge in drops because drops are never equal. Like even out of the same dropper, every drop is going to be different, right? So yeah, but yeah, 3 to 5 drops is always a good bet. TPA Quince is pretty awesome. It's actually one of my like top 10, top 5, maybe even TPA flavors. I go through a lot of it. It's like right up there next to honeysuckle and cherry blossom, which are my 2 very favorites. All right. Well, I see I'm on the Sasami website now. So here we go. They have a big floral section. Has anybody tried their florals? Oh, they only have 4. Never mind. interested in checking out their orchid though. It can be really strong. The cool thing about it being really strong though is that it's not like offensive if you use too much. It just kind of pushes the other flavors down, but it doesn't like taste bad. $2 or €2.50 for 10 ml. It's not terrible. I wonder if anybody in the US carries it. Maybe DIY Vapor Supply. Nothing important there. Some of my most like recent favorites have been some of the newer Flavora like oddities that came out like earlier last year, like Blackberry Blossom and Sugar Orchid and Morning Mimosa. Should I single flavor test sweeteners and other additives? You can single flavor test like sweeteners and additives, but it's kind of counterproductive. So what I recommend doing is taking like a simple mix that you're really familiar with. Yeah, if it tastes like perfume, you do it 3%, then maybe keep it around 0.5% or 1%, Kathleen. Sorry, I didn't mean to get sidetracked there. About single flavor testing sweeteners and other additives is that, I mean, a lot of them don't have a lot of actual flavor, so it's kind of hard to gauge what they're going to do to your mix. So what I do is I make a simple recipe, right? Like 1 or 2 flavors, like TPA strawberry at 4% and TPA honeysuckle at 4%. Like just super straightforward and direct, and I know exactly what it's going to taste like every single time. And then I add my additives to it, right? And maybe I'll make like 3 different batches with the additives at 0.25, 0.5, and 1%, just to see how they interact at different percentages. It took me a long time. It takes a long time sometimes to get yourself to a place where you can feel consistent with how to use your additives, because depending on what kind of flavorings they're interacting with, you can get a totally different result. Like WS23, I still struggle with a lot because I'm really sensitive to it. And like even a 0.25% blasts me in the face sometimes if it's not with something really syrupy or thick. But yeah, generally speaking, with sweeteners and additives, I don't just single flavor test them. Just because it gives you a good idea of how powerful it is, but it may not really give you a good idea of how it's going to interact with other flavorings. I mean, and that's a fine way to approach testing flavors too. You don't have to, you see a lot of people doing single flavor testing and reviewing, but a lot of times, like I don't have the dedicated space or time to like make 15 testers of a batch of flavors that the company has sent me, right? So like I come up with like a bakery test batch, a fruit test batch, and like a X test batch, right? Usually Florals, right? Where it's like a really simple recipe that I add the new flavoring to, because I've practiced with those bases so much at this conjecture. Like it's basically like a twofold job where I can pick out all the notes of the flavor, and then I can start figuring out how it's interacting with other flavors at the same time. So that's generally how I approach single flavor testing. I might do like 1 single flavor test at like a median percentage, and then I just start mixing with it. Generally speaking, just because I don't have enough time to single flavor test everything I have anymore. Like I have too much stuff. Like it's way too much all the time. Anyone have a good pairing for shisha rosemary? Orange. I tried it in a couple of different orange recipes, and like orange with just a little bit of cream, not quite like orange creamsicle level orange cream, but just orange with a little bit of cream to tame it back. But it goes really well with orange. It works really well in rum recipes, or anything like kind of tropical. Those have been where I've had the best bets or the best results with shisha rosemary. I've been meaning to try to like fidget into like a bakery because I think it could work really well, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. Excuse me. Ginger ale makes me burpy really bad, but it's delicious. Also, I've been really digging into vape trains, like weird weird stuff. Like they have this flavor called osmanthus. I'm not exactly sure. I mean, it's a definite floral, and it comes off kind of musky, like musk candies, and I'm pretty addicted to it, and I can't stop vaping it. I've gone through like 210 mils now. Sophia, if you're watching, I'm out of osmanthus again. Please send help. No, I'm kidding. But it's good. It's really good. It's good spicy ginger. I'm pretty sure Vape Train Dr. P flavor is supposed to be their approach to Dr. Pepper, right? Or whatever you guys call it, wherever you are. Or Dr. Pepper soda. A good spicy ginger. It depends on what the application is. Are you talking about like just like a straight ginger recipe or like a ginger beer? Dr. P's a bubblegum flavor? Okay. Thanks, Julie. I just assumed that it was Dr. Pepper because Dr. P, right? Vape Train has a good root ginger. It's a little dry, but it's pretty nice. It's a little spicy. Flavor West, I think, is a little spicier, but it's also really, really, really sweet. And I think Flavora's ginger is pretty similar to Flavor West's, but it's way more potent. Flavora's ginger peach, I don't get that much ginger out of it, and weirdly enough, that it tastes like fucking like cream soda a little bit to me. Flavora's ginger peach. I don't know why. Maybe it's just the way the ginger affects it, but it's like a root beerish. You want like a hard ginger beer? Maybe start with Hanks and ginger is probably the least sweet. Hanks is probably not too easy for you guys to get over there. Vape Train ginger is probably the best, and it's the least sweet out of all the other options. And maybe with like a like Flavor West sassafras or something like that to kind of back it up and push on the herbal tones. And then maybe something like Decadent Vapors, Dandelion, and Burdock to really flesh out the weird herbalness of like ginger beer, right? Because ginger beer is usually really herbal. Yeah, like a tonic or like an aperitif maybe, kind of. So that's probably where I'd start. I'm pretty close to getting to like a real live Negroni. If any of you are familiar with like aperitifs or weird cocktails or really old-fashioned cocktails, it's pretty good. Yeah, Hankson's really hard to get almost anywhere. The only reason it's not is because there's one company in the U.S. really that has like a decent wholesale contract with them. They're notoriously pretty difficult to wholesale with, so a lot of flavoring houses don't carry them. Needs more beard. I know. I just trimmed it, and I really want to it just to grow back out again. But I had to trim it because well, it was just like turning into like a hobo beard, right? And I was walking around looking like a homeless guy. Hans, you can't really. So we've tried to talk to Lewis and Carl about getting Hankson in, and they made attempts to do Hankson, but it's really difficult for them. They're really notoriously like just a nightmare to work with. Hankson is, not chefs. They're wonderful. Give them your money, all of it. I mean it, really. Lewis is hungry. I mean, look how skinny that guy is. He needs a hamburger. Get the man a hamburger or more cheese straws or something. I kind of want a cheese straw now. We don't get those. I can't find cheese straws or anything. Even I have to make my own. We don't have that kind of street food here. Tacos. We have tacos. Tacos everywhere. Hans, there's a fair amount of cocktails work in my ELR if you're looking for inspiration or some help. Also, well, he looks skinny on camera. All right, so whereas like I get fatter when I'm on camera, Lewis looks tiny. Lewis just gives me the change back from my paycheck as it is. I know how that feels. Sorry, Hans. I meant to finish that sentence. Yeah, check out my ELR and my ATF. And Concrete River has also done a ton of really great work with cocktails. There was somebody else, too, that I was thinking about when we were talking about cocktails, but now I can't remember. But yeah, check out Concrete River's stuff. He's done a ton of really great cocktail work. And he's probably more effective at replicating some of the brighter cocktails than I am by a long shot. Oh, that sounds nice. So, speaking of gin, I've been fucking around with Vape Train's gins, and they're incredibly reasonably good. They're not Flavor Monk's good. I know I've talked 100 times about how good Flavor Monk's gin flavor recipes are, gin flavors are. And they're spectacular, but they're just really a pain in the ass to get their hands on. That's who I meant to say, Liam Davey. Yeah, does he has an ELR, doesn't he, or an ATF or something? I see him post recipes sometimes, or pretty often, and I've seen him do a lot of cocktails lately. He seems like a pretty cool chap. I haven't had a chance to really talk to him very much. It's because I keep buying it all, Joey. I'm sorry. But their gin is really good. The botanical gin is nice. They have another regular just straight gin. Both of them are pretty good. I don't know if both of them got released though, because I have some that are like beta flavors or flavors that never got released or just aren't being carried anywhere else yet because they sent me a whole ton of stuff. Sheer Ohms. All right, thank you. It's a really spectacular gin though. It's really, really good. I'll harass Theo and tell him to make more, right? Or whatever I'm supposed to do. I wouldn't do that. But if you're into gin type cocktails, Nature's Flavored Ginger is a really good choice if it's available to you in the U.S. You can get it at e-cig. It's a little dry and a little funky, but it's a really nice ginger. Yeah, it's nice. I haven't had a chance to play with it a whole lot. I just did a quick test on it. They have a fruity gin? Vape Train does, or Flavor Monks? Sen? So Vape Train seems to suffer from a weird banana note thing. I happen to like it, generally speaking, in most places, especially in their custards. I think the banana note really lends like a lot of good thickness. Oh, Flavor Monks. They have like 6 different fruity gins, so I'm not sure which one you mean. I think I have all of them. Interesting. Yeah, Liam seems like a pretty cool guy, and he seems a lot like he puts out a lot of stuff that's pretty out there. So yeah, I can't usually keep up with all of Rick's reviews anymore. He's done so many of them. He did like 400 or something like that last year, like more than one a day, which is like an incredible body of effort. Like I can't even fathom testing that much. Like not only testing that many flavors, but taking the time to sit down and write that much of a review every day. Like that's a ton of work because you had to like have everything in rotation and steeping on the schedule, and it was pretty incredible. There's no way I could manage that level of dedication. Like I do my best to. Oh, Gin in Paris. Yeah, that one is weird. I don't remember it getting a banana note specifically, but it was kind of funky. I like the Vero gin the most, I think, or just the straight gin. Us in the US, that's only on certain goods. It's not on everything that comes out of China, but there is a bit of a weird trade thing going on. So we could see some fluctuation of pricing for stuff coming out of China, but I'm sure. I mean, yeah, we'll see. I've been trying really, really hard the last few weeks just to stop watching the news until it's like an election cycle that I can vote in. Hang on, I got a drip here, but I can't see. I need to redo the lighting in this room because if I just use the overhead lights, the glare off of the ceiling like whites out my face completely. It's really, really bright. So I just need to, I don't know. I need to reimagine my lighting scenario here. So right now I just have like a tiny bit of light from the window, so I can't see very well in here. Well, all this crazy international tariffs, they're on like on big import export. They're not really interested in fucking with the little buyers, right? Because a 25% on a $100 order from Germany or China like doesn't net the government much of anything. Any tips on getting a salted caramel to taste a bit saltier? Flavora beer nuts. It's the only Flavora beer nuts or Wonder Flavors honey roasted peanut. Those are the only two flavors that are like flat out kind of salty. Like they're weird, they're hard to work with, they're a little dry, but they both have something in them that I haven't figured out myself yet what it is that has like a legitimate kind of salty vibe, right? They're dark, so they work well with like a salted caramel kind of theme, but they're gonna add some kind of like nuttiness to it for you to get enough for it to be like salein's like a joke, right? Okay, salein's like not really a thing. It's like a 99.9% placebo thing, if you ask me. But yeah, check out the Flavora beer nuts. That might work for you. Keep it really, really, really low, probably like maybe 0.25% if you're feeling aggressive and brave. I probably wouldn't start any higher than that. You might have to go higher than that to get it, but beer nuts works pretty well. It does good. And the only other one that I've had that gets like a saltiness to it is one that's really probably not available to most of you guys overseas, which is DIY Flavor Shack's pretzel. It's kind of a weird flavor and not very good on its own, but it does kind of have like a weird salty vibe to it. Flavora beer nuts is brilliant. It's probably one of my favorite flavors of theirs just because it's so fucking weird, right? It is definitely salty. Other than that, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of anybody's game because you don't really want a whole lot of salt to a salted caramel anyways. Otherwise, it just gets kind of not fun. I still think, I'm pretty sure beer nuts is going to be your best bet. Honey roasted peanuts is really good too. Oh, thank you so much, Subbabes. I appreciate that. I'm really glad you like it. Elderflower Dreams was like probably the one shot that I've spent the most time like smashing back and forth until I could get it to work, just because elderflower flavors are typically really a huge pain in the ass to balance. But it's really good. I'm really glad you guys are liking it. I'm super glad that I honestly didn't think that anyone would even go for it at all, because elderflower is like one of those flavors that is like really aggressively floral, and it's like bordering on grandma's perfume floral, right? So, but I think it's really nice. I spent a lot of time on that one, so I'm really glad that people are enjoying it. Matt Williams, get it. It's a pretty neat stuff. Like, you probably won't ever use a whole lot of it, Flavor beer nuts, but I mean, it's good. Like, it's just neat, and you can do a lot of cool shit with it. So it's nice to have as an option if you're trying to chase some weird stuff down. Yeah, try it really low. Put it like in a caramel or something like that, like just 0.25%. Don't try it by itself. You'll be disappointed. I did that with some of the Flavora flavors when they started sending those out, and I got some a little bit in advance, just so there could be some reviews for people to know how to use them and stuff. And beer nuts was the second worst flavor I ever tried to vape solo. besides Florals brie cheese. Both of those flavors are really super useful and super cool, but they're not single flavors at all. Like that's not what they're for. I mean, maybe somebody somewhere likes them that way. I mean, I like plenty of weird shit that nobody likes, so I can't say, but I definitely wouldn't recommend it. Where did I put my, there it is. Yeah, let me know how it goes, Joey. Or send me a message or whatever on Facebook, or tag me in the chef's whatever post. Oh, thank you, Nonstop Mix. I'm glad you like the mango Beauregard. So the cool thing that makes mango and violet work is that they share aroma volatiles. So when you mix them together at a reasonable ratio, like they kind of turn into like a whole new thing. But FA Violet is such a really cool, versatile flavor. It goes really well with blueberries, although it kind of tends to like disappear in blueberries, and blackberry. Also really well. It kind of disappears inside of it, but it adds a candy sweetness. It goes really well with any other tropicals too. So mango, cherimoya, or any of the soursop flavors from Florals, or Inawera cherimoya too. I tried it with banana once. It didn't go well. It did all right with. Now I'm like drawing like a blank. It does all right with like kind of meaty tropicals, right? Like pineapple if it's not too wet, because then it just tastes like syrupy. So like a drier pineapple, like Vape Train's Sugarloaf pineapple, would probably be a good choice. Or, let me think. Oh, cantaloupe was another weird one that it went really well with. At least it went well with to me, but I mean, I'm weird, so that's subjective. Some vapes, I'd really love that. When you do that, link me to them. I'd like to see them. We'll come over and make sure you get some love, get some exposure to your. Are you doing that on YouTube? Are you gonna do like a video channel thing, or are you gonna put them up on one of the Facebook groups? Flavorless yellow cake, one of the bad single flavor testing flavors. I don't like yellow cake by itself, and it does really terrible things to your coils. But it has one of the most realistic grains. But if you're I lost my train of thought for a second. Sorry. Are you trying to build like a cake recipe with it, or are you trying to just find like single flavors that are good on their own? I feel like TPA vanilla cupcake is probably the best like standalone cake flavor, but it's definitely got like a vanilla frosting thing going on with it that makes it maybe less versatile. But flavorless yellow cake is delicious, but I don't like it by itself at all. But mostly because it's just really, really sweet, and it has a decent like cake grain thing going on. You can get a better grain from Flavor West hazelnut if you're going to build around it and do something different. I use like Flavor West hazelnut and cap sugar cookie in conjunction with each other to build a cake base, and usually TPA vanilla cupcake because I just like it better generally. It's worth noting that if you're trying to stay away from diatones, that you should not touch TPA vanilla cupcake because it's one of the highest diacetyl content flavors on the market, which means it's delicious. It's true. It's true. Oh, Pandoro is excellent. We can't buy it in the States anymore. You have to buy it from the kitchen line, I think, or FAUK maybe still sells it. I don't know. We can't buy it here anymore because it has the diatones in it. So I love Pandoro. It does have a definite lemon note, but Pandoro's lemon note does steep out if you let it sit for a really long time, like 2 months, like maybe not quite 2 months, but pretty close. All right, so babes, well, I look forward to it. I'm glad you're enjoying the one shots. I've tried the black currant candy one. It was really, really good. I didn't order all of them just because it wasn't in the budget, but I plan on ordering all of them. But I really like the black currant one. I think it's King, right? The black currant jellies. It's really awesome. I love it. I like it a little stronger than the recommended percentage, and sometimes I find myself adding to it just because it's a really, really great like black currant jelly base. But I just want more. Yeah, so I usually put some more stuff in there. Howard Vape Train's blueberries. I think I only have the one blueberry. It's pretty good. It kind of reminded me. Yeah, that's the one I have. The blueberry ripe. It's good. I really like it. I mean, it didn't like blow me out of the water, but it's pretty reasonable. It's a good blueberry. It is pretty strong, so like maybe just 1.5% is probably more than enough. I really like it though. It's fairly authentic, and it's got a nice bit of like blueberry peel, like that kind of tart, sharp peel flavor to it that most of the other blueberry flavors don't have. I don't know if it would replace Flavor West blueberry, which is my favorite, but it definitely has its place. I like it better than FA's blueberry, I think. Yeah, I couldn't say. I only tried the King. Um, that wouldn't be hard to do, Joey. I think Cap's blueberry jam is kind of junk, to be honest. It's really weak. It's not very strong, and it just doesn't have a lot of flavor. It has like a kind of interesting jam texture, which is nice, but just doesn't have a lot of strong flavor to me, or at least like recognizable flavor. I guess it's a better way to put it, right? Oh, what else? Where are we at? Do I have anything else I really wanted to cover? Yeah, I like the rhubarb compote from Vape Train, but I'm kind of in the same boat. Like, I'm not really sure where to go with it, right? Like, it's a decent rhubarb. It's kind of a rhubarb, but it's really more compote. I get more compote and more of that kind of jamminess, which is pretty cool. So I think I might just use it to try to make a different kind of jam, right? Like, because I feel like their Jam Wizard or Jam It or whatever it's called. Um, I get like a really distinctive like peach/orange marmalade kind of vibe from that orange jam. Joey, have you checked out the Chef's Choice or Cupcake World's rhubarb? It's probably my favorite. It's absolutely spectacular. It's not as realistic or tart as Inawera's, but it's like way easier to work with. It's a really good flavor. I highly recommend it if you're into rhubarbs. There's probably 5 or 10 rhubarb recipes on my ELR somewhere. See if I can find 1 or 2 for you. Yeah, I really like the CCW rhubarb. Some of my new ones use it. Some of my older ones didn't. Cherry cricket. Yes, I mean mostly, right? Like there's a few factors, right? So a lot of people who start DIY, maybe they even use reliable recipes from reliable mixers and stuff like that. But a lot of us like reliable mixers have been not vaping commercial juice for years, and now it tastes kind of weird to us. So if you want to work with, let me finish this and I'll come back to the Inaware rhubarb. Yeah, if you want to get closer to commercial juice, you need to strip it down, right? So commercial juices almost always have like only like 4 flavors at the very most, sometimes 5. They use higher percentages than's average in DIY. They use more flavoring and they use more sweetener. And that's just how they do it, right? It's cheaper, it's more effective, and it's easier to manage like commercial mixing that way, right? If you're trying to commercially mix recipes that have like 10 flavors plus, like it kind of gets to be a huge pain in the ass. So most commercial juices are just like, 3 or 4 flavors and more sweetener than any DIYer would probably generally prefer. But yeah, that's generally the gist of it, right? So if you see a recipe you really like the idea of, try to dumb it down, like bring up the percentages on the flavors you really want to be there, and then just go with that 2 or 3% flavor with sweetener, and that's where you go. I can't do sweetener anymore, or at least very little sweetener. Inaware rhubarb. So if you want to work with inaware rhubarb, like you have to use it like ridiculously low. I have a example here for you. I did a strawberry rhubarb pie. A couple of them here. All right, so I'm going to throw some links in the chat here. This one is using both I recommend a steep time for which flavor. So here's this one. Oh, probably, I don't know. I mean, I like it pretty fresh, but maybe like a week or a week and a half. And this one is for and this is a pretty weird one here. Nobody carries G's custard in this last one here, but you could replace it with any other custard. I was just trying to get my head around it. Those are a couple. I've got more somewhere. I think they're all still on private because I was using some for a commercial project. Kathleen, that's actually a really hard question for me to answer because I have a really hard time vaping TPA Juicy Peach because there's linalool in it, which is it's a terpene, which is really, really harsh to me. And it gives me like mega throat hit if I use it over 1%. Presuming the Cap Double Apple and FA Juicy Strawberry are somewhere in the 3% range, I think 1% TPA Juicy Peach would probably still be enough for it to be there, but not to be too strong. I would start at 1% probably. I know some people use it at like 10%, but I don't really think it's necessary, and it's really, really harsh. So, inaware rhubarb actually almost needs strawberries to survive, right? Like, just because you have to use it so low, and it kind of misses out. It's got a really great like kind of top end. With the bright tart rhubarb, but it's really kind of missing out on the bottom end, right? Like it doesn't have a lot of the lower, darker, sweeter stuff. So I would recommend, yeah. And I would start at like 0.15, Julia, like 0.15. It's not like I'm not picking on you. It's really that strong. Even once you start pushing it up close to 0.5%, it starts getting kind of a weird celery thing going on that isn't very pleasing. Sometimes you can make it work if you've got it next to like other ingredients that are pushed really high, right? So it's really saturated, then you can maybe go to like 0.5%. But generally speaking, I have not had great success pushing it to 0.5% in most cases. Yes, nonstop mix. I think inaware pineapple is probably my favorite overall pineapple. It's weaker than most inaware flavors, so don't be shy about pushing it up to like 4 or 5%, or even maybe a little bit more. So yeah, that's all right, Cherry. No problem, no problem. Caps are always appropriate. Nobody gets upset here. It's all good. Do I? Here, Cherry, you like recipes with cinnamon or butterscotch? I got something for you here. That's not the one I wanted. Nope, now I can't find it. I don't know what I was talking about. Oh yeah, there it is. So this was actually a clone that I did for somebody else that people loved, but it is disgustingly sweet, right? It's really super duper crazy, crazy, crazy sweet. It will absolutely annihilate your coils, but it's pretty fantastic. I like it a lot when I'm really craving something like super heavy on the sweetness. You can feel free not to use the TPA sweetener at all. It doesn't really need it, but it's what kept it truest to the commercial version of a recipe called, or a flavor called Wookie Cookies by the Vapor Hut, which is a big American company. So most of the folks in here today are not from the US, so I don't know if you'll be familiar. Plus, most of us all mix our own anyways, but it's pretty good. So maybe Americans are boring because most of us think everywhere when you talk to anyone about rhubarbs in the U.S., it's almost always pies, right? Everybody just makes pies or tarts, and that's it. But it's pretty much just pies, or well, really just pies or cookies. Maybe I live somewhere way too rural. But that's great, Cherry. Good luck. Let me know how you like it. 2% Innerwear rhubarb. Michael Morris, you are a savage. That is so much Innerwear rhubarb. So much. I mean, if it's good and it works for you, that's fantastic. 2% Innerwear rhubarb, frankly, no offense. I mean, like, no offense at all. It sounds terrifying. But if it comes out good, maybe I'll try it. I have a ton of Innerwear rhubarb. Noosa yogurt. Joe, I think for something like a yogurt, I think Chef's Choice or CCW's rhubarb is going to be the one you want. I did a rhubarb yogurt with Flavor West yogurt and Flavora Greek yogurt as the base, and then I used like 6-7% Chef's or CCW's. It was really, really good. Some people like culotta. Kathleen, don't worry about if other people are that don't like it. If it works for you, that's great. Like culotta tastes kind of like cold cardboard to me. I can't get away from that like weird cardboard taste. But I know tons of people used it for years and years and years and years before WS-23 became popular. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much how everybody does everything here in America. They just put it in a cookie and add more sugar. Like that's as creative as they get. As far as like really common desserts. I mean, if you have to spend a lot of money or live in a really rich area to find places that do things like that. We don't have very many like accessible eateries that also like have a more artistic approach to food. So I like a FA Arctic Blast or whatever. It's good. I like that. It's definitely menthol. I kind of like Polar Blast more just because there's less menthol and more cold. I don't really even get any menthol specifically from Polar Blast. I'm lucky. We grow our own rhubarb here, so I have a fairly steady supply of fresh rhubarb. Rhubarb creme brulee sounds pretty interesting. I like that. I like how we're all just like where this show is now about rhubarb. I should have just titled this Mixlife episode 62 Rhubarb Town or something. Maybe we'll do a special on rhubarb soon. All right, fellas. Well, I think I'm gonna wrap it up. I got some stuff I gotta do. I gotta get some mixing done. But it was good hanging out. Thanks for watching. Maybe I'll start doing more solo streams like this. It was pretty fun. I was surprised. At first I was like, oh God, what am I going to talk about for an hour by myself? But you guys make it pretty easy. So have a great day. Enjoy your rhubarb chat. Make lots of rhubarb stuff today. And then show me your recipes in the Mixlife group. I want to see them. It'll be good. Take care, dudes. Have a good weekend.